Do you know what? If I was a betting man, I'd say you're going to smell pretty good. Give it a try. I was right, and thankfully I was also right the other day. So yes, good afternoon. In a minute I'm going to go and do another fitness fragrance review. We're going to go out for a walk and I'm going to review this fragrance here, the Essence Vault 191. Yes, a lovely memorable name again. And this hadn't actually got a memorable name of the fragrance it is cloning. It is called Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli. I have to keep checking my computer to make sure I'm saying it right. This is a clone of a Chiadi favourite. They seem to do quite a lot of these Chiadi clones. I'm not really sure why, because I've never heard of them. But I really was glad to get it. Because the name sold it to me. I don't know this scent, haven't seen them in any shops before. But the reason I got this one was essentially it's a 30ml bottle. It's a little bit smaller than I'd normally get. But I won some money. Yes, I had a free bet for the Grand National Weekend at Aintree, and I put a bet on I Love My Royal History. Put one called the Wellington Arch. It wasn't the favourite, it was about the fourth favourite. It was 13-2, and I managed to win it. And on top of a £5 voucher I got from buying the fragrances the other day, I managed to buy this fragrance. So I was really looking forward to it coming. It's finally come, and I cannot wait to give it the full fitness fragrance review. So if you haven't seen this before, essentially I'm going to do a walk. I'm going to do a workout. So we're going to look on 5 categories that we're going to rank this fragrance on. So we'll look at its price/value for money. We'll look at its versatility, projections, how much I know Citra Mall in terms of its strength. We'll look at its compliment factor. Do I think people are saying nice things about it? And also its longevity. As I get near the walk or end of the walk, we'll just see how much I can still smell the fragrance. But before we do all that, we need to go into the note breakdown. What is in the Essence Vault 191? I'm still forgetting to press the clicker. So I do apologise. I'm going to be looking down at my screen here to make sure I get all the notes included in this, because it's quite an extensive note breakdown and some very interesting notes, some really good ones that I've not really seen in fragrances before. Now, I've reviewed another sort of Kalali clone by the Essence Vault, Pistachio Gelato, and what really appealed to me with that one was it had such a unique breakdown. It had things like, obviously pistachio, but it had ice cream, it had some boozy components. So I just thought, wow, it's all this amazing notes that I absolutely love. Have they managed to pull it off and put it together in one fragrance? And to be honest with you, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It was almost just like they just chucked everything in and hoped for the best. And it kind of just lost its way. So I'm hoping this one won't do it. But I'll tell you what notes are in this fragrance to start with. You've got vanilla, orchid, jasmine, and rum in the top. I'm going to just spray it again just to remind myself of the opening. You definitely get that boozy vanilla vibe from this. I don't particularly get that jasmine. Jasmine, again, can be quite a strong floral component. That initial opening is definitely all about vanilla and rum. It's a little bit alcoholic, a bit sharp. Every time I've sprayed this one so far, and you can see it's quite a dark juice, to be honest with you. It does give my nose a little bit of a tingle. So, yeah, might be just slightly lacking on the quality there. But anyway, let's go on to the middle notes. Creme brulee, brown sugar, and rose. Definitely getting the sugar. Quite surprised I'm not particularly picking up again the floral components here from the rose. Rose can be very prominent in fragrances. With this one, it doesn't seem like it is too prominent, which I'm quite glad, because it could have overpowered this scent, and it's not really meant to be that. Obviously, as it says, vanilla, sugar, patchouli, so it's meant to be those 3 main notes essentially. But then we do go into the base: patchouli, musk, amber, and agar wood. Patchouli offers a bit of earthy depth, can add a bit of darkness to a fragrance, and obviously it's meant to be a big selling point. This I'm not really getting too much of that patchouli, but of course that's in the dry down. Maybe you haven't quite got to that stage of this fragrance yet. Same with the musk. Again, it's just not that cream washing type vibe. As we just said, it's a dark juice. Wouldn't spray it on a white t-shirt. Feels more of a night out. Maybe the musk is just sort of smoothing off the edges with this fragrance rather than being dominant, which again, I'm quite glad it's not meant to be. Ambers and accord, so again, that has sort of vanillic caramel notes chucked into one, and that's really what it's adding. It's lending itself to that gourmand vibe again. And yeah, that's kind of it really. What am I particularly getting though? It's that rum and vanilla combination. It's like a boozy vanilla, a bit of sugar, and almost like this smoky vibe. And I reckon that's the agar wood or agar wood. I think that's like an oud. I believe that's like oudy note, and I think that's where that's coming from. And it's very interesting. It feels like a fragrance that I've smelt before, like a Middle Eastern type fragrance. You know, the ones that you can get from like Latafa, for example. Or, yeah, it definitely doesn't feel quite... It's not like a Ferragamo Uomo, for example. It's much darker. It's a little bit more intense than those traditional vanilla caramel scents you expect in the Western world. But it is very nice. It's very pleasant from my initial impressions. And anything that gives you that smoky boozy vibe for me is a big win. But what we're going to do then, we're going to head out from a walk in a minute. We'll do all 5 categories during that. And yeah, the weather has changed a little bit today. So it feels more suited to a slightly more cooler weather night out fragrance. So yeah, I will see you out there. I've remembered the clicker this time. Certainly a different day outside to it was a few hours ago when I did my first review today. I had my sunglasses on, I was contemplating wearing shorts. Now I've got a waterproof coat and also my umbrella in my pocket. But the reviews continue, the workouts continue, and we are looking at the Essence Vault 191, the clone of Vanilla Royale Sugar Patchouli by Kayali. So price tag value for money for this: if you're buying the 30ml, which I've got, you'll be paying £15. If you're buying the 100ml, it'd be £25. And I thought it was worth just looking at what the price of this original fragrance is. And it seems to be out of stock at the moment, but it's around £79 for 100ml normally. So do I think this clone then of it is good value for money? Well, it's a difficult one, because I think normally I would say, oh, you know, the reason you buy a clone fragrance is because it's a very recognisable scent. It's a very popular one, like a Creed fragrance or a Frederic Malle or a Parfums de Marly. You just want it for a cheaper price. Now, obviously this isn't the most expensive original fragrance in the world. It's kind of like a high-end designer type price, or middle of the range, you know, Dior Sauvage type price. I think you're buying this one not because you know what the original scent is, but because you read the name like me and you think, oh, I love patchouli, I love vanilla, I love that sort of gourmand sugary feel that this may have. And that kind of means that you're not really buying this for being a clone. So then you look at scent quality. Do I think this one smells exactly as the name suggests? Do I think it smells high quality? There is a bit of an alcoholic blast in the opening, but I think it's pretty good. Look, there's a lot of depth and a lot of complexity to this. You've got patchouli, you've got rum, which, you know, Bentley for Men Intense is another one that's well known for its rum in it, and obviously that's around that £25 range. But not many fragrances around that price tend to have rum in, because it's a more expensive, more luxurious note. So in some respects, I think, yes, they've branded this fragrance pretty well. You definitely detect the sugar, you definitely detect the vanilla, and you do get that bit of earthy depth from the patchouli. So it has ticked that box. And look, I always try and give a bit of balance here, but I don't want to just be negative for the sake of being negative. But the question I ask myself is, as a clone fragrance, does this smell as good as like a Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille? You know, because you can get these Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille clones for the same price range. And I'll be honest, no, it doesn't. It smells like a cheaper gourmand fragrance. And look, I almost feel like it's tried to cater for the best of both worlds. A younger person probably really likes those caramel vanilla vibes to it, and an older person probably really appreciates that rum and that agarwood, that sort of more smoky vibe to it. But the problem is, I feel like if I was a younger person, I'd go, I really like this, but I don't like the rum in it. And if I was an older person, I'd go, I really like it, but I don't like the sugar in it. It makes it a little bit more youthful, a little bit more plasticky in its smell, almost a bit cheaper. So I feel like it's tried to cater for the best of both worlds, but not really catered for either in full capacity. And that doesn't make it smell high-end, high quality. And when I'm looking on this website for, you know, clone fragrances, I think I'd still be looking at the ones that copy a Tom Ford, copy a Frederic Malle, copy a Parfums de Marly. Because this one, I feel like you can get this similar scent DNA, you know, with some of these Middle Eastern fragrances. And of course your Bentley for Men Intenses, which are iconic scents. I don't think I'd reach out for this one over those. So it's certainly not bad by any means. It doesn't feel like a poorly made fragrance, but it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't stand out to me and it makes me think I really got to buy this one over some of the others. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for that reason. Kind of just about hits the average, and that's not bad at all, really, is it? But it certainly hasn't taken long for the rain to start. I'm only on to Versatility next, and yeah, I am already getting a little bit soaked. So let's get on with this one quickly. So how much for the Essence Vault 191 can you dress it up, dress it down, different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things? Well, I think you can just look at that note profile and see this is very much built for night outs, date nights, clubbing, whatever you want to do in the full winter time. This will certainly cut through the cold, and that's exactly what it's meant to be. It's meant to be loud, it's meant to be a bit more aggressive, in your face, and yeah, just quite alluring. And it definitely does that. You know, I cannot fault it for exactly those occasions. It is brilliant. But of course, with that, it limits itself, doesn't it? You're not going to wear this one particularly casually. Even though it's raining and chucking it down, it's quite windy at the minute, it's still quite muggy and warm. And even myself, obviously we'll go on to projection at the moment, in a minute, it's quite strong. I can feel it's there all the time, and I think by the end of the day you almost would want to wash this one off. It's heavy, it's very, very heavy, it's very intense on that sugar as well. So yeah, you want it on those occasions where you want to be a bit louder and cut through the cold, but gym fragrance, absolutely not. To be honest, I wouldn't necessarily want to wear this one in the office, because unless you tone your sprays down, I think it's going to be too much for a lot of people. But I do think it's one where if you're moving around in different room to room, people will be trying to follow that trail, like, who is that smells really nice? But it is limited on those other occasions. I don't think this is for women particularly, even though it is, it's marketed for men and women, this fragrance. I think that sort of oody smell is a little bit too strong, so I think you have to be a certain type of person. But I also don't think an older gentleman, as we touched upon earlier, will really like that sugary fit. It does have that juvenile kiddie vibe about it, so I think it's just literally for those one occasions, those night out occasions where you want to make a statement and try and get noticed by the masses. Other than that though, it's pretty limited on versatility, isn't it? So I think in terms of a score for this one, it is a little bit below average. We'll go 6 out of 10. It does exactly what it's meant to do. It's meant to be that night out fragrance, but you're definitely going to want a citrus based scent or just a general woody green fragrance to complement this one, because I think after a while you certainly wouldn't want to wear this back to back days. It's very intense. Okay, so moving on to projection then, how much am I noticing the Essence Ball 191 during my walk at the minute? Well, normally I overspray. I'm the sort of person that will spray 15-20 times the fragrance on my clothing, and yeah, I just like those really loud ones. But even myself here, I didn't want to spray too much. I think I did about 5 or 6 sprays with this one, and I reckon you'd be able to smell it sort of 2 arms lengths away. So my arm length doubled. I think someone standing that far away from you would notice it. It's not really heavy, really aggressive, but I think if it was any more than that, it would be too much for yourself and other people around you. Again, I wouldn't wear this one in the office, but even if you did want to, 3 or 4 sprays would be more than enough. And I think the person sitting next to you would certainly notice it and like it as well. That would be about the right thing, I think, for this type of fragrance. 3 or 4 sprays around your neck, around your upper body, that would do the trick. So it's pretty good. Projection on this, as you'd expect with a lot of fragrances that have, rum in it, have a sugary note, have those sort of vanillic notes, a bit of florals as well from the jasmine. You expect them to be quite loud, and this one is certainly quite loud. So if you're someone who does like strength and you quite like the sound of these notes, the projection is going to do really well for you here, and I've got to give it a good score for that reason. So projection, we'll go about 9 out of 10. Look, there's some louder ones, there's some that I think would leave a better, a nicer trail. I think Tobacco Vanille, obviously we're talking really high end here, but of course you can get plenty of clones of Tobacco Vanille, I think would still be better. And I think that Alcoholic Blast sort of limits that projection a bit for me, because it might just be a bit too much. But other than that, you cannot fault it. It is loud, even walking by. If I've oversprayed this 15-20 times and someone walks by me, they're going to notice it. So it deserves a high score for projection. So I do apologise, it is the rush hour time now, so you may get quite a few car noises, so I'll make sure I talk loud enough. But thankfully the rain has stopped, so I thought it was a good time to talk compliment factor. Do I think this is a compliment getting sent? Well, I've only owned this for 3 days, so I thought the best thing to do in terms of compliment factor for today was to ask my parents and my brother literally as I opened it. I thought that gives me a good chance then to get genuine opinions on this scent. And I got 3 kind of different responses. My dad initially just went, yeah. My brother just went, oh yeah, I've smelt that one before, but he wasn't particularly sure what it was, but he's like, I recognise that. And my mum was like, yeah, it's nice. My mum never wants to say anything's bad, because obviously I've spent money on it, so I think she was just being kind. I don't think it's for her particularly, and she likes patchouli, but it is sugary sweet. My dad definitely didn't really like it, and I think my brother just thought, yeah, that smells like something I've had before. And I do think that is the issue with this scent. It is mass pleasing, it's got that mass appeal, but it doesn't feel like it's doing anything different, despite the fact it's got rum, it's got creme brulee, which I've never really seen in fragrances before. It ultimately, once you put it all together and put it in the wash, it comes out and smells like one of those sweet night out gourmand fragrances. Look, you're going to garner attention, it's loud, it's brash, but I do feel like people will know that you've worn this to get attention, to be noticed. And sometimes that can be a little bit off-putting. And for me personally, if I'm someone who, I'm quite a quiet person, for me to compliment someone on a fragrance, it has to do something to break the mould. And I'll be honest with you, like my brother, because he's tried a lot of fragrances, because you've smelt this smell before, I don't think I'd have any reason to go out of my way, go out of my comfort zone to tell that person, oh, that smells really different, that's really nice, what is that? If my brother was wearing it before we went out for a walk, I don't think I'd mention it. I'd probably just say something along the lines of, oh, I can tell you've got a fragrance on. But look, it definitely has that alluring, seductive appeal, but I do think you'll smell like everyone else. So if you're trying to impress that one person, or you're trying to stand out in a crowd, I'm not sure this is going to be the one that makes people remember you, even though it's very nice, very mass appealing. If you're someone who's really into fragrances, personally, I think you want a bit more. If you're someone who just wants to smell really, really good, really seductive, and that's, you're not really massively into fragrances, you just want that scent DNA that most people wear, then this will definitely do that. And there's a lot of fragrances that will do that as well. So it's absolutely fine for compliments. It's built for compliments. That's why the notes that are in it. So it's still a pretty decent fragrance. It's it's night out, and I'd happily wear this one for a night out if I didn't have too many other ones that I think I prefer to this. If I just had this one in my collection, I certainly would use it for those occasions. So I'm going to give it the compliment factor 7.5. It's about a par for me. There's better out there. There's certainly a lot worse you can wear, and I just think for your fragrance enthusiasts, you'd want something that just has a little bit more uniqueness. So we are nearly back from my walk, which means it is time to test for longevity. It's been about an hour and a half, and thankfully I've avoided most of the rain, but has the fragrance survived ultimately? Time to smell my top. To be honest with you, I'm actually a little bit disappointed with this one. Again, I'm going to say this first of all, if it was 100% as strong as it was an hour and a half ago, I would personally find that too much, because I plan to wear scents normally all day. If it's a night out fragrance, I want it to be 100% as strong after an hour and a half, because ultimately that's what I expected this to be. I expected this to be one for a night out, to cut through the cold and be noticed. And if you're out dancing, clubbing, drinking, wherever you are with a load of people getting hot and sweaty, you want it to last. But I'll be honest with you, it's been an hour and a half, and it's probably about 40% as strong. Now it's quite windy outside. It's, I'm going past a load of cars with pollution and loads of things that could affect the performance of this fragrance. On top of the fact I am getting quite warm as well. I don't think this is going to cut through the cold enough for most people. I think they're going to be disappointed. I still think, again, if someone's sitting next to you at the moment, they're going to notice it. But for what this occasion, the occasions we said this would be best for, I thought the longevity be a bit more. Again, sometimes you get those really dark juices and you can just tell they're going to last forever. And I expected this one to last a little bit more, but I'm having to dig my nose into my coat to smell it, and just with the wind now picking up as it is, it's not really blowing into my face, which you normally expect with these really sugary, sweet type fragrances, particularly boozy fragrances as well. So I'm a bit underwhelmed. It probably goes back to the point I'm trying to make, where it doesn't smell like a real high quality scent. I don't think they put as much effort into this cologne as they probably do with like the iconic Aventus ones and some of the other Creed fragrances, because let's be honest, they're going to be the best sellers more than this. It's still very pleasant, it's still very nice, it's still there. For me, it's better because it makes it more wearable for me through most of the day. But again, I wouldn't buy this for those occasions to be an all-day type scent. It is for those nights out, and it hasn't really performed on that longevity for me. I don't think you'd notice it on your clothing by the morning if you've been out doing all those sorts of things, with friends and, gone out on the town essentially. So, quite surprised here. I'm going to give longevity 6 out of 10. I thought this was going to be the one round it really thrived on today. But you can get fragrances that fit this same genre and last just as long for around the same price. Again, particularly in those Middle Eastern ones. One like a Rapperwood Intense, for example, by Latticer, I think is better than this one. And, a little bit underwhelmed. But again, for me, it certainly made it a little bit more bearable during this walk. And we are back. We are finally back. I thought I'd do the end of this video at home because it's got very noisy outside with all the school children getting picked up by parents. But I have been wearing during my walk today the Essence for 191, the Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli Fragrance Cologne by Kayali. Now, what was the total score it got based on the 5 rounds that we looked at today? It's kind of done okay. It's done pretty well. It's got over 70%. It's got 35.5 out of 50. Look, I think it's one of them. I got personally, and I've a couple of these Kylie clones, I've kind of got a little bit coaxed into the notes that are in it, rum, patchouli, all this combination together just excited me. But I do feel like once it's all been put together, blended together, and it comes out in the wash, ultimately, what does it really smell like? And to me, it just smells like a very good, very easy to pull off nighttime date night fragrance, but nothing you've not really smelled before. It just is a simple gourmand fragrance. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's slightly seductive, it's sweet, it's a little bit juvenile, playful, but it doesn't have that complexity that maybe those of you that are really into your fragrances may appreciate. But this is great. This is a great gift for anyone who's in their early 20s, who maybe starting to go out a few more times with mates into the town, maybe a university type scent. I think this one will do the job really well for someone as well. And it's, little 30ml bottle of this, absolutely convenient. You can throw it into a gym bag if you're, going to the gym after work. Sometimes I like to go in the evening. I'd happily put this on a cold winter's night when it is a bit dark outside and I'm coming out the gym. Again, it's not a bad fragrance. It's really not a bad fragrance at all. But do I think it's memorable? No. And I would say this to anyone. If you're buying this because you see like creme brulee as a note, you see brown sugar in combination with rum, vanilla, jasmine, whatever. If you're buying them because you think that combination sounds like it's going to be something unique, I don't recommend it. But if you're just someone who wants an easy to pull off gourmand scent, you don't really care, then this is great. This is exactly what you expect people to smell like at the moment. It's just that really popular scent profile, scent DNA at the minute. And again, for £25, or if you get this 30ml for £15, you're not really going to go wrong, are you? So yeah, very happy to wear it. I'm going to put a little bit more on actually now. And again, I obviously moaned about the longevity not being too strong here, which I think it should be more for this type of fragrance. But for me, it's made it more wearable, more pleasant, and maybe that's the musk that's just lightening it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm still happy I've got it. I don't regret buying it. Well, when I say buying it, of course, I won money during my betting at the Aintree, the Grand National weekend, so I can't really complain too much, can I? But yeah, wouldn't necessarily recommend it for those of you that are maybe more into those niche smells. I'd still look at getting the Creed clones, the Acqua di Parma clones, the Tom Ford clones from the Essen Vault instead, because they are very, very good. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this one today. Got one more fragrance. I'm going to do well, it's a clone fragrance again, but I'm going to do a fitness fragrance review in the morning. I might as well show you it now. Another memorable name, the Essence Vault 138. This is a clone of Kilian's Angel Share. So very well known fragrance. Can't wait to review it tomorrow, and hopefully you'll join me for that one. But yeah, thanks for watching today. I've remembered the clicker again. I'll catch you later.